He served me court papers to force me to watch the child he had with his mistress because they can't afford childcare. My ex-husband and his affair partner, who is now his wife, by the way, have absolutely lost their minds, and honey, I have the receipts to prove it. Let me tell you exactly how we got to this point, because you are not going to believe the level of entitlement coming out of this man's mouth. So, rewind a bit. I'm sitting here, living my best life, minding my own business. My son, let's call him Leo, is 9 years old. He is my world. His father, let's call him Derek, blew up our marriage while I was pregnant with Leo. And he didn't just cheat, he cheated with Tiffany. And get this, Tiffany and I ended up pregnant at the same time. Leo is only a few months older than their daughter, who we'll call Bella. Imagine that for a second. Being pregnant, hormonal, excited for your first child, and finding out your husband has another oven bun baking across town. It was messy, it was painful, but I walked away with my head held high. For the first few years, I refused to even look at them. All custody exchanges were done by my saint of a mother or his sister. I didn't want to see his face, and I definitely didn't want to see hers. Once Leo was old enough to walk from one car to another, we stopped the middleman, but we still didn't speak. We used a parenting app for everything. If it wasn't about Leo's schedule or a medical emergency, I didn't respond. The reason I went full ice queen wasn't just the cheating, it was the audacity that came after. When the babies were infants, Derek and Tiffany actually reached out to me. They asked, and I am not joking, if I could send over Leo's old baby clothes, unused diapers, and bottles for their daughter. Derek gave me this sob story about how they were struggling financially. I looked at that text and laughed so hard I nearly choked on my Chardonnay. I told him clearly and concisely that I was not financing the child he made with the woman he wrecked our marriage for. His response? He told me we could have raised the kids together as one big family if I had just found it in my heart to forgive him. Then he called me a stuck-up brat who acted like being cheated on was the end of the world. Sir, the delusion. So, fast forward to now. Leo is 9. I have never met Bella. Leo knows she's his half-sister. He knows they share a dad, and he's fine with it. I treat it like a distant relative situation. I don't badmouth them, but I don't engage. 2 weeks ago, my phone rings. It's Derek. Usually I don't answer unless Leo is with him, but Leo was with him at that moment, so I picked up, thinking it was an emergency. Hello? I answer, heart rate already spiking. Hey, Derek says, using that wheedling, I need a favor voice I haven't heard in a decade. Look, Tiffany is going back to work. We've been looking at daycare costs, and it's a lot. I stay silent. I'm listening, but I'm already narrowing my eyes at the wall. So, he continues, we were thinking, since you work from home sometimes and you have a flexible schedule, we wanted to know if you could take Bella 3 days a week after school, just until 6 p.m. I froze. The silence on the line was so loud you could hear a pin drop in the next county. Excuse me? I whispered, thinking maybe the connection was bad. It would be great for the kids, he rushed on, clearly sensing the storm clouds gathering. They need to bond. Leo is there anyway. What's one more kid? It would save us a fortune, and honestly, you're better with kids than the daycare centers around here. I took a deep breath. Derek, let me be crystal clear. That will never, ever happen. Do not ask me again. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I poured a glass of wine and tried to forget the sheer nerve of this man. But, oh, honey, if you think that was the end of it, you don't know men like Derek. He started texting me. You're being unreasonable. Think of Leo. Why are you so bitter after all these years? I ignored every single one, blocked the number for a few hours just to get some peace. Then he moved to the parenting app. Now, this app is admissible in court, so I have to be careful. He sent a formal request, requesting childcare assistance for sibling bonding. I replied once, very professionally. As stated on the phone, the answer is no. I am not available for childcare. Please make other arrangements. That's when Tiffany entered the chat. She started calling me from a private number. I didn't answer, so she texted me from her phone 10 times in a row. You need to be a better mother. Put your son first. I know you hate me, but Bella's innocent. They deserve to grow up close. You're punishing a child for your own jealousy. Jealousy? Sweetie, I'm not jealous. I'm tired. I'm booked. And I'm not a free nanny for my ex-husband's mistress. I didn't respond. I just screenshotted everything. Derek then tried the guilt trip. He sent me long paragraphs about how much they've been through. Apparently, Tiffany has had miscarriages and stillbirths since Bella, and they are emotionally fragile. He said they are broke, struggling, and just need a break. Look, I am a human being. Miscarriages are devastating. I wouldn't wish that pain on my worst enemy, but that does not mean I am obligated to open a daycare center for the woman who slept with my husband in my own bed. If you are already shook by the audacity, hit that like button right now because I haven't even gotten to the part where the law gets involved. Yes, the law. Derek tried to get Leo to ask me. My 9-year-old son comes home and says, "Daddy says Bella can come play at your house after school soon." I had to sit my baby down and explain that no, that wasn't happening and Daddy shouldn't have said that. Then Derek threatened to just drop her off. He said, "I'm coming over with Bella so you can meet her. Once you see her, you won't be able to say no." I typed back so fast my thumbs nearly caught fire. "If you come to my property, I will not answer the door. If you leave a child here unattended, I will call the police and Child Protective Services for abandonment. Do not test me." He didn't show up. But do you know who did? The mailman, with a letter from an attorney. Derek, the man who claims he cannot afford daycare, scraped together enough money to pay a lawyer to send me a threatening letter. It essentially said that by alienating the siblings, I was violating the spirit of our custody agreement and inflicting emotional distress on his family. It demanded I agree to a sibling visitation schedule that, surprise, surprise, coincided exactly with Tiffany's work hours. I called my lawyer. I sent her the letter. She laughed for 5 straight minutes. I'm not exaggerating. She was wheezing. She said, "This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. He can't force you to babysit his other child. That's not how the law works." My lawyer called his lawyer. It was a very short conversation. Apparently, Derek's lawyer is a cousin of Tiffany's or something, because no reputable attorney would have filed this. My lawyer told them to kick rocks and that if they contacted me about this again, we would be filing for harassment and reevaluating custody based on his instability. So, am I the a-hole? Because according to them, I'm a bitter, heartless monster who is denying a little girl the love of her other mother. But looking at it from my porch, sipping my coffee in my peaceful, mistress-free house, I think I'm doing just fine. But wait, I promised updates. And you know I don't leave you hanging. Update 1, 2 weeks later. The silence was golden for about 10 days after my lawyer smacked them down. But then the flying monkeys arrived. Derek's mother, my former mother-in-law, called me. Now, this woman and I have always been cordial for Leo's sake. She loves Leo, but she also loves Bella. She calls me up crying. "Oh, honey, I know Derek made mistakes, but Tiffany is really struggling. She's falling apart. Can't you just take the high road, just for a few months?" I asked her, "Barbara, are you offering to watch Bella?" "Well, no," she stammered. "I'm too old for toddlers all day, and my bingo schedule." "Exactly," I said. "If her own grandmother can't do it, why is the ex-wife supposed to?" I told her kindly but firmly that this topic was closed, and if she brought it up again, I'd have to take a break from her too. She hasn't mentioned it since. Update 2, the fallout. So, remember how I said they were broke? Well, apparently paying that lawyer cousin was the straw that broke the camel's back. Derek missed a child support payment for the first time ever. I didn't even have to chase him. The state enforces it. His wages got garnished immediately. He sent me a text screaming that I ruined him, and that because of the garnishment, they can't afford their rent. He actually typed, "I hope you're happy, you have a warm house, and we might be on the street because you're so greedy." I replied, "I didn't make you cheat. I didn't make you have another child you couldn't afford, and I certainly didn't make you try to sue me into servitude. This is the consequence of your own actions." Make sure you're subscribed, because the update I'm about to drop next is going to make you scream. Final update, karma is real. It's been a few months. The dust has settled, but not in the way they hoped. I found out through the grapevine, my mom talks to his sister, that Tiffany has moved out. Apparently, the stress of the financial situation and Derek's obsession with forcing me to help caused a massive blowout. She took Bella and went to stay with her parents 3 states away. Derek is now begging me for more time with Leo because he's lonely. My lawyer advised me to stick strictly to the court order. I feel bad for Bella, honestly. She's an innocent kid caught in a mess made by 2 selfish adults. But I also know that if I had given an inch, they would have taken a mile. I would have been raising that child until she was 18. So, moral of the story, don't expect your ex-wife to clean up the mess you made with your mistress. Next story, you're obsessed with me. Speaking of delusional people, let's talk about step-siblings, or rather the people who marry them. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepbrother's wife she's obsessed with me and ruining Thanksgiving in front of the whole family? I'm 23, female. My stepbrother, let's call him Kyle, is 27. His wife, Monica, is also 27. Now, you need the tea on the background here. Kyle used to date a girl named Jessica for 5 years. Jessica was amazing. She was the big sister I never had. We were thick as thieves. Kyle, being a typical immature guy, cheated on her and blew it. Jessica left him, good for her, but she and I stayed friends. We still grab lunch, we comment on each other's posts. I don't bring her around the family, but she's my friend. Enter Monica. From the moment Kyle brought Monica home 3 years ago, she has looked at me like I am the devil incarnate. She is standoffish, hostile, and constantly watching me. If I hug my brother, she glares. If I laugh at his joke, she rolls her eyes. She has convinced herself that I, his stepsister, am in love with him. She has made Kyle block me on social media multiple times because I texted him things like, "Hey, want to get lunch?" or "Can you help me move this couch?" She tells everyone who will listen that I'm trying to ruin their marriage and that I'm rubbing Jessica in her face by staying friends with her. It all came to a head last night. It was a pre-Thanksgiving dinner. I brought my new boyfriend, Sam. It was his first time meeting the whole chaotic blended family. I stepped outside for literally 5 minutes to help my stepdad with the grill. I left Sam alone in the living room with Monica. When I walked back inside, Sam looked like he had seen a ghost. He looked stunned. I asked him what was wrong. He whispered, "That woman, Monica, she just cornered me. She told me you have a huge crush on your brother. She said you're disrespectful, that you're trying to break them up, and that you're betraying her by being friends with his ex." Something inside me just I snapped. It was the crash out moment. I didn't pull her aside. I didn't whisper. I turned around and faced the entire room. "Monica!" I yelled. The whole family went silent. Forks dropped. "I am so sick of this. You are obsessed with me. You have spent 3 years imagining that I want my own stepbrother. It is disgusting, it is weird, and it is entirely in your head. You are embarrassing yourself, you're embarrassing Kyle, and now you're trying to poison my boyfriend against me with your delusions." She started crying immediately. The waterworks were instant. Kyle jumped up and started yelling at me for humiliating her. "She's insecure because of Jessica," he shouted. "No, Kyle!" I screamed back. "She's insecure because she's crazy. I don't want you. I have never wanted you. The only person making this weird is her." We left. My boyfriend was still in shock in the car. He said, "I believe you, but wow, your family is intense." Now my phone is blowing up. Half the family says I was too harsh and should have kept the peace. The other half says it was long overdue because she's been acting like a psycho for years. Honestly, I felt great saying it, but Thanksgiving is officially canceled. Next story: the best friend who crossed the line. If you think family drama is bad, wait until you hear about this best friend. I, 34F, have been married to my husband, Evan, for 6 years. His best friend, Connor, has been around forever. They are a package deal, but Connor gives me the creeps. For years, and I mean years, Connor has made these jokes, but they aren't funny. He waits until Evan is in the bathroom or grabbing a beer, leans in close, and says things like, "If Evan ever messes up, I'm next in line." "You sure you picked the right best friend?" "I'd never let you out of my sight if you were mine." He says it with this slimy little laugh, so if I call him out, he can say, "Whoa, relax, I'm just joking." I have told Evan multiple times. Evan always dismisses it. "Oh, that's just Connor, he's harmless. You're reading into it." Right, harmless. Last Saturday, we were at Connor's house for dinner with his wife, Diane. Everything was fine until dessert. Evan went to the restroom. Diane was in the kitchen getting the pie. Connor leaned over the table. He looked me up and down, like, really looked, and said, "You look incredible tonight. Evan's a lucky guy. If you ever get bored of him, you know where to find me." He winked. I didn't think. I didn't plan. I just exploded. "Connor," I said, loud enough to wake the neighbors, "I need you to stop making comments like that right now." Diane froze in the kitchen doorway. "It is inappropriate," I continued, my voice shaking with rage. "It has been inappropriate for 6 years. I am married to your best friend. I do not want to hear one more word about being next in line or what you would do if I got bored. It is disgusting, and I am done." Diane dropped the pie server. "What?" she asked, tears already welling up. "What did he say?" Before I could answer, Connor jumped up. "She's crazy. I didn't say anything. She's accusing me of hitting on her out of nowhere." Gaslighting at its finest. Diane started sobbing, accusing me of humiliating her husband in his own home. Evan came back to absolute chaos. Diane crying, Connor playing the victim, and me standing there shaking. Evan dragged me out to the car. Ideally, this is where he defends me, right? Wrong. He was furious at me. He said I caused unnecessary drama. He said I should have pulled Connor aside privately. I have pulled him aside, I screamed in the car. I have told you for 6 years. You didn't listen. He didn't stop. What was I supposed to do? Now Evan wants me to apologize to Connor and Diane to smooth things over. He thinks I overreacted. I am not apologizing. In fact, I'm thinking about showing Diane the messages Connor sent me on Facebook 3 years ago that I saved just in case. Am I the a-hole for finally snapping? Final story. The Thanksgiving invite. Let's end on something a little different. A story about co-parenting that actually works until a new fiance gets involved. I have 2 kids with my ex, Mark. Mark isn't perfect. He comes from a family of addicts, just like I do. We both had rough childhoods. But Mark is a good dad. He has been there for my oldest son, who isn't even his biological child, since he was 1. He loves them. We aren't together, and we have zero romantic interest in each other. But we are a team. We promised we would never let our kids have the toxic holidays we grew up with. This year, for Thanksgiving, my fiance, Jason, has to work. He didn't ask what my plans were. He didn't care if I was alone. He just said, I'm working. And that was it. My mom and stepdad are hosting a small dinner. They are the only stable family I have. They are also the only stable family Mark has. He has nowhere to go, no parents, no partner, just an empty apartment. So I invited him to my mom's house. Not for me, for our kids, so they can have their dad and their mom in the same room, eating turkey, showing them that love doesn't end just because marriage does. My fiance, Jason, found out and flipped. He says it's weird. He says it's disrespectful to him. I asked him, You're working. You made no plans for me. You didn't check if I had a place to go. Why do you care if the father of my children eats turkey with them instead of sitting alone in the dark? He says I should suck it up and that exes don't belong at family holidays. But here is the thing, Mark is family. He is my children's father. My parents consider him family. I feel like Jason is being insecure and selfish. He's threatening to rethink the engagement if I let Mark come. And honestly, watching him be so cold about a man who just wants to see his kids on Thanksgiving, it's making me rethink the engagement too. Am I the a-hole for prioritizing my kids' happiness and my ex's mental health over my fiance's ego? So spill the tea in the comments. Would you let the ex come to dinner? Would you apologize to the creepy best friend? And most importantly, what would you do if your ex sued you to babysit his affair baby? Let me know, and don't forget to subscribe for more drama.